Okay, welcome back to another episode of Sorcery by Steve Jackson. Let's keep going. You wake early and sit for a moment, in no great hurry to leave the village. This is now the third day of your journey, and the muscles in your legs are feeling lean and strong from so much walking. You spend a short while enjoying the pace. Then unhurriedly collect your possessions and set off along the path. Kristataneti is surrounded by several miles of fields, a filthy town set in a bowl of mud. As you follow the path between the lines of sun-baked crops, you come to a fork in the road. The right-hand way leads past a set of outbuildings, while the left hand heads directly off into deep woodland. Let's go into the woods again, I guess. Your journey is too important to slow down now by talking to the locals. You must pass unseen and so disappear into the jungle of tall trees. For a short while the sun is feverish, and then you are between the trees once more, and everything becomes cool and still. You walk for several hours uneventfully. This is land that was never settled or explored, and very few travel this way. In places, bushes and shrubs have grown into the path. Let's move cautiously. How about it? You pick your way carefully forward, moving slowly but silently through the trees. If there are any beasts nearby, you should be able to wring their necks without them hearing your approach. Then you come to a fork in the road, still deep in the forest. Someone has thought to make a sign, perhaps as a guide or perhaps as a warning. The way to the right is marked Dumpus. A left turn points to Aliana. Neither seem to be the better trod. You will have to choose. Well, since this looks like a dead end, let's hit the dead end. The path winds between trees that get greener and more lush. You must be close to the river here, although you cannot hear water. After about half an hour's walk through the dopped shade, you come across a well-built hut. Flowers decorate its walls, and the door has been painted with ornate designs. The path ends here. Let's scout it. You perform a swift circuit around the hut, but find nothing unusual or concerning. It seems to be what it is, a hut set deep into the forest. But for someone to survive out here, on their own, surrounded by beasts of the jungle, they must be someone quite powerful. Okay. Let's knock on the door. You approach, but there is no reply. You push open the door and stride inside. And get murdered. The hut is laid out neatly laid out. You detect the touch of a fastidious woman. Chairs are set around a table as if for guests. A mattress lies in one corner, and a large kitchen area indicates whoever lives here. They are fond of cooking. Cooking humans. Oh. There should be food here, then, at least. You head towards the kitchen when you're arrested by a cry. Who's there? What's that? Let's locate the speaker. Looking into a corner hidden by a large cupboard, you see a cage in which a young woman is imprisoned. Good stranger, she pleads. Let me out of this cage, I beg you. What happened to you? You move over to the cage. What happened to you? Oh, good stranger, she wails. I have been locked up here for 2 days. It was Elvins that did it. Those mischievous, prankful Elvins. Please, you must help me. I have not eaten, and they left me here, where I can see all my cooking things, but I cannot reach them. Okay, I'll help you. Going over the cage, you try the door. It is locked, of course. Let's use some magic. You should be grateful. I waste my strength on you, you declare as you roll up your sleeves. Let's see, the magic I want to cast is Dop, open locked door. You cast a spell over the lock and it begins to shiver. Like a small beetle, it hums and clicks as the tumblers turn and work. Then finally it snaps open and drops to the floor. The woman claps her hands in delight, and with the door open she rushes out and throws her arms around you, before backing off a pace and trying to regain her composure. Stranger, she declares, I am in your debt. Aliana will reward you. Will you take aid in combat or mastery of magic? I'm going to do magic, I guess, since I do use magic all the time. Magic. Very well. Very well. She rushes quickly over to a wall and opens a panel you had not seen before and takes out a small box, which she places in your hands with a smile. No tricks, she says, with a smile. All these things will aid you if you know how they are meant to be used. You flip open the box. It contains a small vial of glue, a pair of strange-looking nose plugs, and 4 small pebbles. You pocket them and give back the empty box. The lady has been freed. It seems like there's nothing much more to keep you here and from your quest. Let's eat. Perhaps before I go, I may eat with you if you can feed me. I have not had anything today. I have nothing, she replies with a sad shrug. The elven who locked me up took everything. What if you get anything if you share your food with her? Would you share my food with me? She nods vigorously, and the two of you settle down to the table. It is a mockery of a family feast, as you carefully divide a quantity of your cheese and bread, trying hard not to lose any morsels into the cracks of the wood. She eats ravenously, as you do, and then finally you stand. I must be on my way, you tell her, and I have many more miles to cover today. Of course. Please, before you go, she holds out something. It is a small bag of coins. Take it. You snatch the bag from her. There are 7 gold pieces inside. Oh, that's pretty good. And one more thing, she says, moving around a table. She leans up to you and pecks you on the cheek. I am Aliana the witch, and I have killed a good many men with my sorcery, but I chose not to kill you today. Go in peace. Then she steps back. Her face is soft and as peaceful as it ever was. Did you imagine her words? Almost certainly not. Time, then, to leave. You step quickly outside. You retrace your steps to the last junction, where you turn to take your path to Dumpus. So I want to go Dumpus. You walk for several hours, following the twists and turns of the path through the trees. Then suddenly you stop. You have heard a noise up ahead. Something is moving around between the rocks at the edge of the path. Let's wait and look. You hang back, watching the trees. There is definitely something moving around. Something large and long, with a tail that whips between the trees. But now that you've seen it, you're at a definite advantage. It's like some kind of monkey, maybe? Let's try to creep around. The beast is off the path to the right, so you creep through the tree line on the left as you may escape unnoticed. You try this tactic, moving slowly and carefully, making as little noise as possible, placing your feet with delicate care. After a few more yards, you're about to rejoin the path when the movement of the animal stops. It must have heard you, or caught your scent, and sure enough, a moment later, it is upon you. In a flurry of foliage and dirt, a rat bear leaps from the undergrowth. It is much closer to you than you have thought. Its sleek black fur allows it to hide in shadows until it's almost upon you. Let's see what spells we can cast. Let's see. So we can do maybe jig. Can we do jig? Oops. J. Nope. That's it. Maybe zap, but that takes 3 stamina, so I prefer not to do that. Let's see, what do we got for L? Nothing too obvious. D. Maybe doze? Yeah, we can slow down the creature, maybe. You draw out your spell, and the beast slows down, looking suddenly very sleepy and slow. At this speed, you would not even need to fight it. You walk quickly away. The path winds a few more times around gigantic trees, thousands of years old, and then emerges into a sudden plain, as if the forest had been scooped away by a gigantic hand. A river trickles thinly between short grasses, and its banks stands a tiny river village. Ugh. Let's enter the village. No need to avoid things. Today has been a short day with few true dangers. With a decent meal and a night's sleep, your next day will start auspiciously. So you begin the gentle climb into the village. You follow the path down into the village, passing a sign which declares it to be Dumpus. The streets are thin and narrow, and the buildings have been set close together, as if trying to withstand a storm. There is a terrible smell hanging in the air. All in all, it seems like an unpleasant place. Let's explore the town since I got a bunch of stamina. Halfway along the track, you come across a couple of merchants' huts. You browse for items worth buying with your 9 gold pieces. Your attention is taken by a finely woven skull cap, a finely crafted sword, and a small bag of provisions. Let's see, what can I do with a skull cap again? It was one of the spells. Beeswax, goblin's teeth. So I just got some glue, so I can do gum, which is super sticky. We got some pebbles, so we can do pop, which cause explosions. Skullcap does this. Let's see. Reads the mind of an alien intelligent creature nearby, learning its weaknesses, contents of rooms, and other such details. That sounds useful. How much do they want for that? You pick up the skull cap and turn it over. Stolen from a priest of Dadud Lay. The priest declares the pride. A fine piece of work, 4 gold pieces. You can tell from the feel of the cloth it has no inherent magic, but it might be useful in spells. You pay him 4 gold pieces, and you place the skull in your cap. Let's buy some provisions. I'm almost out of food. 6 gold pieces, the merchant says with a smile. For a good traveler, I'm sure. Should I pay with an emerald? I think I have, 2 emeralds? Yeah, I have 2 emeralds. I don't see a good way to sell your emeralds for money, so I might as well. You hand over one of the emeralds from the goblin's mine and add the provisions to your pack. I already got a sword, so I don't need to buy that sword. Is there anything else I can help you with? Is there any work to be had here? The merchant sizes you up. You look like a good worker to me. One of my friends needs some digging done. I'm sure he would pay you and feed you for it. Digging what, you ask? The merchant shifts uncomfortably. Does it matter? You'll find out. He stares at you. So, he asks. He looks over his shoulder at the path. I'm going that way myself. You coming? Don't rewind. Follow the merchant. He leads you to a house on the edge of the village. He introduces you to a householder, a stout man who is probably incapable of lifting a spade, let alone digging with it. What does it need doing? Cesspit, the man replies. Out back, needs digging. How much? Well, it's pretty urgent. The one's overflowing. How much money, you demand? 3 gold pieces. Alright. I'll get started. Spade's out back, he replies, with a jerk of his thumb. You walk through the man's house into the back garden. The smell is terrible. The job's not just to dig a new cesspit, but to dig over the old one. And it'll be several hours' work that you'll probably take the whole night. You collect the spade, which stuck in the ground by the hole. Let's solve all our problems with spells. I think we can cast big, which makes us big. You cast a spell and wait for it to take effect. You feel the spade turn from a heavy tool to a mere toothpick in your hand as you swell to 3 times your usual size. You have the digging work done in barely any time. You go back into the house and smash it because you're a giant and collect your money. 3 gold pieces. The grateful household also provides you with some food as well as a spare place on the floor to rest the remainder of the night. You settle down happily and are quickly asleep. That's pretty nice. You dream strange dreams as you sleep. Your thoughts are dominated by the strange woman in the hut. In your mind, she has become younger and more beautiful than she truly was. Flowers seem to blossom from her hair as though she was grown from the earth herself. Overhead, you fancy you hear the flap of giant wings. The birdmen come from the crown. Perhaps before this journey is finished, they will come for you. Well, I'm sure they will. Let's keep going. That's a good place to stop the episode. See you next time on Sorcery.